Hello and welcome to AMG Time And Attendance system video tutorial. In this video I'm going to introduce you to one of the main sections of the program, categories. Categories section is the second menu item in the definitions. It is intended for defining how the time of the employee can be spent. For example, absent category means that at that time the employee was absent. Break category means that time was spent on break, or worked time, the employee was working, and so on. In this window you can see the list of all categories, add new categories, edit and delete them. Note that default categories of AMG Attendance system cannot be deleted, but you can set them inactive if not in use. Also, you can filter the categories by some criteria, generate reports about categories, and adjust the table's columns to optimize visibility. The following information could be stored in categories: code and name. These fields are required. All other information is optional. You can set the category active or inactive if not in use. Then you should choose the type of the category. It can be hourly or money. If hourly, you should fill some of the information too. Miscellaneous entry overrides absence. Checking this option means that if the transaction of the category is committed, then the employee is not considered to be absent for that day. Pay miscellaneous entry. You should check this option if the transaction of the category should be eligible for being paid. Add to benefits. Adding a category to benefits assumes that employees are allowed to spend only a limited amount of hours on that category. Mostly, the categories that are being added to benefits assume not being at workplace, such as vacation or sick, but still being paid for that period. So when either add to benefits or pay miscellaneous entry options are checked, calculate overtime for this category option becomes active. If enabled, transactions of this category are considered to be eligible for overtime payment and will be calculated as overtime, according to overtime configuration set in Pay Policies window. Otherwise, the transaction of this category will occur only at a regular pay rate. Stick to the nearest transactions. Checking this option means that the miscellaneous transaction of this category should be stuck to the nearest out-in transaction hours. When you enable this feature, you also activate the next features, pay for intermediate inside hours. If this option is enabled, then during the miscellaneous entry of this category, if employee returns back to the workplace, he will be paid for those intermediate hours spent inside the workplace. Otherwise, if you disable pay for intermediate inside hours, employee will not be paid for that intermediate inside hours. Recommended to check this option if the category is not paid, otherwise double payment for the same hours will occur. Outside category. This option can also be active only if stick to the nearest transactions option is checked. Here you should choose the category which will be applied after the allowed duration of this category's miscellaneous transaction when the employee is late. As I have already mentioned, all these options are active only when the type of the category is set to hourly. If you set the type of the category to money, it means that when adding miscellaneous transaction of that category, instead of entering duration of miscellaneous entry, you will have to enter the amount of money which will be added to or subtracted from final wage, depending which option you have selected when adding miscellaneous entry. Also, from this window, you can define whether you want to include these categories hours in payroll exports or not. If you want, then you should check do you wish to export this category box and fill in, field code, and the regular, overtime 1, overtime 2, and overtime 3 fields, which are to be used in different parallel exports.